Yeah, perfect. So here the school will be treated as a parent and we have a student as a child. So we will have an physical relationship there, which means student has a lookup field or a master field in the with respect to school. At that moment, we can retrieve the data using an parent to child or a child to parent. So what exactly we can't explicitly call is, so in here, so account is an parent and contacts are the child. So we cannot query inner query or an parent to child query or a child to parent query. We can't do it for the school and the accounts because they are not interlinked now. So in here, you can see here, the blue ones are the parent and the green ones are the child. So here, the school is a parent for student, right? They are interlinked. And same way, the account or the company is an parent for contacts. So in this case, we can query school and student, but we cannot query or have a combined query with student and an account or a school or an account or a student or an account. So that's where it is. So let's take with an example. I'll just brief out so that we will just move on to an apex after that. So let me share my screen. Oh, already shared. So here. So like I said, so here we have an account as a parent and contact as a child, right? So let's write a simple query to which gets a value from parent to child, which means we start with account and retrieve a contacts detail. So how exactly it's been done is select name from account. This gets a value directly from an account, which means currently we are retrieving an account data. So with that, if you want to have an parent to child, means here, as like I said, account is a parent and contact is a child. So to retrieve it, so we will have an inner query, which means select so contacts. So why we are taking its contacts? Because we will check for a relationship name. Where exactly we see that relationship name? Sorry. Just give me a moment. Where did it go? Okay, here. So where exactly we see that? So on contact, so we will search for an account. So inside an account lookup field or a master field, we'll have a parent relationship name, which is this one. So we will use this variable or an value in an inner class, which means within a subclass. So that's what we are retrieving here. So let's execute this. So now we have a 13 accounts which has its contact. So this is how we query parent to child, which means we started with account, then retrieving values of contact. So this is a parent-child query. So in the same way, we can have child to parent query, which means we start with an contact, then retrieve the values of account. So here it's how exactly it looks like. So what exactly we will be retrieving it? Name. No, sorry, first name from contact. So why we are using contact here? We are not using a relationship name. We are using directly an object name, right? So with that, if you want to have an parent field there, we'll explicitly call the parent object with dot notator and then its field. That simple it will be. So this retrieves Our first name is from the contact, and the second name is from the account name, account object's name. This is how the child to parent retrieval is. So from where we are starting here, so when it comes to a parent to child, we start with an contact, which is a child, and then we will be retrieving the values of account using a dot notator. Okay. But if it is a parent to child, we'll use account as our primary object, which means we start with an account, then retrieve the contacts within the subquery. We'll write a subquery there. That is how the parent on child objects relationship will be retrieved in using an SOQL. So let's have this, execute this in our anonymous window. So let's say that I want to retrieve all the accounts from my system. So currently it has like 13 records. So let's retrieve all the 13 records. So retrieve that, we need to make a list of account is equal to parenthesis, like that square brackets notates. So whenever a SQL is compiled, which means whenever an SQL is compiled, so the square bracket indicates there is an query, like within that square bracket, that needs to be replaced or that needs to be executed and saved it to accounts. That's what Salesforce or an compiler notates to and while running it. Okay. Let's have a simple one. So what exactly we are retrieving here? We are like creating a collection of accounts using an accounts as an variable name, collection name, and then we are retrieving this all the 13 accounts. Okay. So in here, when we execute it, so this creates a log. Wait a second. Okay, when you go to log, where it is, yeah. So when we go to a logs, so we have only one line, right? So what we have done, so in the first line, we have created an collection, and then we have created a query. We defined a query, right? So in the same line one, and then we are executing it. So currently it shows like the list size is 13. So thing is like we are not yet displaying it. Okay. So let's display it right away. What keyword that we'll be using to display? So means in the log system dot debug. Let's say list of account. Where exactly it's been stored? It's stored in accounts. Right? And this is how it will be retrieved. So if we execute it, we'll have one more log. So in here, you can see here. So in the line 2, we have retrieved it, right? So let's open that. So in the line 2, we have retrieved it. So when we go here in the line 2, we have a debug log which says list of account, and these are the accounts that are in our log. There are 13 records. 13 records has been retrieved here with name and phone number. So that's how we will be retrieving it as a list. Let's imagine that we would like to get in a map manner, which means we use ID and an account. So whenever we have a query, run a query. So how exactly map works? It has a key and value pair, right? So what exactly key and value pair here in here? So what will be the unique in an account object? The unique thing would be ID. So we use map ID, and whatever the thing that we retrieve from the query, that we will store in an account, right? So this is what we are retrieving. We are currently retrieving an account, right? So we'll just add it as an account. Map is equal to, let's run this query. And I'll just copy paste this. map account. So if we run this, list of map. Okay. Just a second. What exactly we have? So let me explain that. Shit. So let me show a run query. So what exactly we are trying to do it here is, so if we have, so we have a list of accounts. So when we run a query, it returns a list of accounts, right? So we are explicitly, or we are assigning a list of accounts to a map. So at that moment, it is running an error. So how exactly we need to run that is, so we need to create a new map. Then we need to say that ID need to be stored, and we need to store an account. So this is how we will be defining, right? So we will define an ID, an account. So where exactly that variable comes in from here. So on run to this, let's see how it actually looks like. So in the line 4, we have a variable called account map, right, in here. So we have a variable called account map. And then let's see, this is for line 4. Okay. List has been retrieved. So on the line 4, we are explicitly calling the same query. And in the line 4, it also said that we have 13 variables. You can see here, right? And then the map variable is as shown here. So it's showing a list. Just a second. Let's see why it is. Okay, because here. So in the line 4, you can see this is where it is. So how exactly it's been done? So it's a map. So what exactly map contains? It contains a key and a value. So this is how the key value works. So let me show this thing. So you can see here, this is a key. So this is what it is. And this contains a value of accounts, that particular account. So that's how map works. When we retrieve and query in a map manner, and this is how it will be stored as a key and value pair. Right? Any question on this thing? Perfect. So next, let's try converting. Just give me a moment. So in here, let's convert a list to a map. So here in the line 1, we have retrieved a list, right? So let's convert list to a map. Okay. So how do we make it? We'll say we have an ID, map ID and account. That's what we are retrieving. Let's say a map with new map ID comma account. So what exactly we need to pay? It's like what exactly we need to pass here. So this value, this contains a list, right? So we'll pass this thing. So now what exactly it does is, so we are passing a list here. So this does the same thing. So what exactly the query returns? List of accounts. The same thing we are passing here. So whatever the query, that result that's been executed or retrieved from this query, we are passing here, and we are having the same result here too. And this is how a list is getting converted to a map. Here. So this is a line 13. So on the line 13, we are converting a list to a map. Any question on this thing?
Sir, this
Yeah.
type of conversion is only for the but S objects only.
No, we can do it for an
Stand.
no, we can do it for an this thing also, like custom objects too. So
Okay, sir.
instead, what we will be doing is, so in here we are passing an account, right? Instead, we don't have an object, but still I'll show you. Let's say we have retrieved an book, and we say book as well here. Or if we don't know the object name or an object API name, blindly you can say object, which means it stores an object record there. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So why do we use object directly? When do we use object directly instead of using an object API name? If
When
we
we don't
don't know, yeah, if we don't know the object, yeah, Amit.
specific API.
Yeah, Amit.
Yeah, exact answer that Gaurav said.
Yeah, okay. So next is, so currently we have retrieved this value, right? So how do we traverse it? Which means how do we loop it? So using map, which key or an which method we need to use retrieve an ID. So in here, what exactly map has? ID and then the value, right? So in, I want to get this value. So what would be the function name, or what would be the like system method name? Okay, let me tell you that. So what exactly we'll be using is, so what we'll be looping, right? Let's loop this thing. This has multiple values, right? So what exactly the unique here, to where exactly we can loop? To an ID. So we'll say ID and a ID, from where to which we need to loop, to we need to loop this one, which means a key. So how exactly we get a key? So we'll use what are the map collection name is, variable name is, then we use key set. And this is the method which retrieves and list of set of IDs, right? This is what we use like to get a set of IDs. So we will use this for retrieval, which means for looping. The same way, let's see, we will have account. Let's go with individual account. Let's see what are the individual accounts are. So we'll just say take this one and then have accounts from map. Oh, this is all right. From map dot get, and we'll pass this ID. So when we have something like this, when we say this, so what exactly it does is, so it's gonna loop through all the results that we have retrieved. Then what exactly it's gonna use for looping? It use the list of IDs, which means these values, the IDs values. So with that, we'll be looping it, and we will pass this ID to an map, which means we use this ID and get this value. And let's see how exactly it's been shown. So how many times it's gonna loop now? It's gonna loop 13 times. So let's say ID plus AID plus So now what we are displaying here, we are just displaying the ID from here, right? From the loop, whatever the ID that we get, and then we are assigning then we are getting a value from using an get method, using an ID that is get stored in an ACC, right? ACC instance. Then we use instance dot notated, then the name, which means we are getting this value, right? Let's execute it. Let's wait. Okay, we see it. Where exactly, what is the line number that we have executed? So line number 15 to 18. So line number 15, what exactly we got here? So where it is 15, 15, 15. So there are many 15. Okay, let's go with this thing. So we have on the line 6, we have displayed all the accounts. In the line 15, while traversing, while looping, we are getting an AID. So what is the AID here? So this is what the AID, the first ID is this, for an edge communication. So what exactly ACC has? So what we have retrieved from the line 16. So in ACC instance, ACC, we have an ID and a name. That's what we have stored it here, right? On the account, just take an ID as a reference and store whatever the value for that particular reference in as an account. That's what we have done here. So that's how it is showing up in a single first retrieval, first iteration. So, and the next, what exactly we are printing? We are printing ID and a name. So where it is? Yeah, here. In the line number 17, we are printing ID and a name. So this is gonna traversal with like iterate 13 times, because currently we have 13 records. So where exactly we can see that all those 13 records? So in here. So map of size is 13. Okay, that's how it is. That's how the loop works. Actually, we have explained, we have tried this for loop, right? So it's the reason why we have explained the for loop earlier is to how to use that in an Apex coding. Okay. So and I do have one question. So while retrieving a list, why do we use that square parenthesis or a square bracket? Anyone? Why do we empathize that square bracket? So if we use a square bracket, while compiling, system defines whatever the data between the square brackets as an SQL query, and it needs to be executed. That is how it is been. That is where it is the compile works. Okay. So next comes, so now we have retrieved a parent directory, right? So let's do one other thing. Let's execute a parent, a child, both, which means we have an account, which is a parent, and we have an contact, which is a child of an account. And let's take a case as well. So which is a child of contacts. Let's treat it as a case as a child of contact. So in here, what exactly, to which object that we need to query then? So here, let me tell. So we have accounts. So accounts as a contact as a child. So contact as cases as child. So now I want to get a parent value and a child value too. So in that case, to which object do I need to write a query? So the object that we'll be using is contact, right? So let's take a list of contact So why I'm taking this as a contact, not as an account or a case? Because I am using this as a primary key, primary object for a retrieval. So I'll take contact as my primary object. Then I will query this. Please stop me if you have any doubts, please. So I'll retrieve these three fields. With that, I'll also retrieve account variable, account value, accounts dot name. So in here, what exactly we are doing? From contact. So in here, what exactly we are doing? We are getting a value from contact, which is first name, department, and email. With that, we are also trying to get an account name, which is a parent to this contact, right? And the other one is, we have covered this in this query. We have done this, right? So I want to have this case also. I need to retrieve the case as well. So how do we write that? How do we retrieve that? So we will have an inner query, which means we'll say subject, comma ID from cases. So this is a relationship name. So whenever you are writing an inner query, so at that moment, or a subquery, at that moment you will be using a relationship name, but not for a parent object. So parent object needs to be set as a parent API name itself. You should not use a relationship name. Okay. So now we have this value, right? So what exactly contacts collection has? It has an field from the contact, then one field from the account, then a list of fields from the cases. So before execute this in our in here as an SQL, let's retrieve here. Let's see what are the values are. So you can see here, if we retrieve on retrieval of this, let me close this. Oh, how do I close this thing? I messed it up. Okay. I'll close it. I'll open it later. So in here, what exactly we are doing? We are using contact as an outer class, outer object, a main object. Then we are retrieving an account. Then we are writing an inner query to retrieve an cases. So you can see here. So this value, I don't want to miss. Let's use one value. Okay, in here we are retrieving three lines, which means three rows or three columns. Sorry. So what exactly it is? So first is first name from the contact. The second is account name from the accounts, and the third is the fields from the cases. So what exactly it retrieves? It retrieves a list of cases. Okay, that's how the list is being displayed, which has a multiple records. On the line 2, you can see the edge communication. It has multiple records. So let's see. So you can see here, it has multiple accounts. It has 2 records. Similarly, this row has 3 records. Okay. So let's execute this query in our window. Let's give me a moment. I spoiled it. Okay. So we go copy paste. So what exactly it's gonna have? A list of contact. Why we are using contact? Because we are explicitly using contact as a primary object for a retrieval. Then we will say the collection name. We'll define a collection name, and we'll add this square brackets. So now we will just display this list of set of dot contacts plus this one, right? So let's execute this. So let's go to debug log. So let's open this window. In the line 1, what we have set? We have set a list of contacts. So in here, we have defined a variable. And then in the same line, we have said this is the query that's need to be executed. And then in the line 1, it has retrieved a record saying that it has 20 records. Right? Okay. In the line 3, we have displaying all. So here. So what exactly it displays? So it is a contact record which has first name, which has account ID, right? Then the let's see with where is the cases? So it's not showing a fully object. Let's do one thing. We'll traverse it. We'll write and for loop. So see each and every object here, each and every record here. So what exactly we're gonna loop with? Contact, right? Let's call it as con, then contacts, which is a variable that we have, this collection that we have defined, and then say system dot debug with contact con dot name, first name plus then we'll have con dot. So how exactly we'll be retrieving an account name? We will say we'll use this instance, the contact instance con dot what is the object name, the parent object name, account dot a name. So this retrieves a first name from the contact and the account name. So let's run this. So before that, we'll do one other thing as well. So currently we have an contact name, first name, and an account first name. But we do have one more column with cases. So to retrieve that cases, we need to have one more for loop. Why? Because so that whenever we have an inner query that retrieves a list of cases or a list of object or a list of list item, right? So let's say let's traverse to each and every cases there. So con dot cases, that's how we define, right? So we'll have a cases. So where exactly we are taking cases? In here. So we are using a relationship name. Okay. Then we will use system.debug to check what are the cases are. Okay, so let's execute this. So it's been executed. So we see here, we go here, what exactly we have done. So in the line 1, this is what the query is, right? Perfect. In the line 3, this displays a list of contacts. In the line 5, so that is okay. In the line 5, we are looping to each contact. So here, that's what we are doing in the line 5. So that retrieves a rows and an edge. So rows is an contact first name and the edge communication is an account name. After that, what exactly we are doing? We are retrieving and we are looping through cases. So where exactly it is? It's in line 8. Where is line 8? Line 8. Yeah, in here. So in line 8, we are retrieving. where it was. Yeah, here. So in line 8, we are retrieving this, which has a subject, right? You can see here, it has a subject and then many more values there. So let's loop through each and every one. So here you can see in the line 9, so we are saying what is the subject is. This is a case. The case subject is this one. And we are retrieving an ID as well. Like we are displaying an ID. That's how we will be using and follow. That's where we use follow, inner follow for retrieval. So what exactly we are doing here? So we are using an object called contact and getting its parent, which is an account. Using a dot notation, we are retrieving the data. And if it is an child record or a child data, it is a collection. So we will use, if you want to iterate it, or if you want to see each and every record, that's the reason we are looping and then retrieving each and every data. Okay. So still the main object, why we are using contact is, still the main object is contact. So to which we are retrieving, which we are querying. Any doubt on this thing?
No.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So let's go with binding variable. So what exactly binding variable is? So binding variable is nothing but whenever we would like to query query a data which we already knew. For example, so let's get an account value, account whose name is, Slack or Trailgate. Okay, let's execute that. Which instead of hard coding the value, which means instead of saying it, so let's do one thing. I think this would be a better example. Executing is the best way of doing it. So I'll just create a list of account and accounts. As an instance, we'll create one simple query, ID, common name from account where name is equal to, let's take this. So in here, we are explicitly, like we are saying that please get a list of accounts, list like an account where name is F4. So on execute this, let's wait. So you can see here, we are explicitly calling this, hard coding it, and then we are retrieving the data. This retrieves the data. So we can achieve this using a binding variables too. Why do we use binding variables? Binding variables are used to make an, and query static. Replace the field with static one or the value with static one. Okay. So let's try that. So instead of saying like passing value directly, what we can do is we will just create a variable S4. Then we'll have this colon, then the account name. So on this we are making it as a static query, and then we are saying that please replace this value with S4. How a compiler know it? So we notate with colon. So whenever an compiler see a colon, it searches for an for an variable which is being defined after colon, and that get replaced here during the compile time. So let's see how exactly it does. So on execute, so we have only one variable, right? One line, two lines, sorry. So on the line one, we have defined a variable called account name, and we are saying it as expose. Okay. Then in here, so during the compile time, so the variable that we have declared, which means account name, it's been replaced with temp variable, right? This is a variable. So what exactly temp variable contains? Temp variable contains nothing but F4s. Whatever the account name that we defined, right? The string data type, that get replaced with temp variable, that gets set to a temp variable during the compile time, and that is what retrieved. The same value will get retrieved. Okay, let's have one more, whether we can use a multiple list, like, let's have a list of accounts, and then let's try that too. So what exactly we use? To use that, we will use inner clause. I'll just make it as an in and have this as a list. List with I'll just keep this thing and replace this with this thing. Okay, so let's see this. So this has been executed without any error. So in here, you can see here in the line one, we are defining a list of accounts, right? We have set a list of accounts. The same thing on the line 3, whatever the variable that we have used, right? The list variable, that's been replaced with temp variable during the compile time, and then it has retrieved a single value. So on the line 3. So which means the thing is, like, we don't have an account with the name of H. So we do have an account with S4. That is where we'll be using a bind variable. So when we are using a bind variable, what exactly tells us? So colon tells us there is an apex variable value. So in here, like I said, colon define, there is an apex variable that's need to be replaced, right? So it can be used where it can be used, this binding variable. Binding variable can be used only with where clause. Here, having in or not in or equal to, equality check. With that, we can also use them in limit and offset. We do know what limit and offset, right? Limit is getting a certain value, which means, let's say if I have a limit 10, only 10 records get retrieved. So what offset does? Offset is nothing but if you said 2, the value after 2 will be retrieved in an offset, which means the third value, the third record will get retrieved. So where exactly we use offset? In which example we use offset? Mainly in pagination. So let's imagine we show 10 records. Then when we click on paginate, we'll get another 10 records. There is where we use offset mainly. So any question on this thing? Binding variable?
No, sir.
Perfect. So let's wrap up this. So in the next session, what other things that we are covering is dynamic query using database query method. So I'll explain that, why we are using, where we are using that. And also we can use, and also I'll explain you the save dynamic query pattern, which uses binding, the combination of dynamic and a binding pattern. It's called query with binding method, that we'll be covering. Okay, any question on this thing? with dynamic quadrant, we do have something called level of access using a user method and system method too. So these things I'll be covering in our next session. Hope this is not covered by Kevin or Shivam, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, in the sense they are not.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So any question on this thing on the today's topic?
No, that's amazing session.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, man. So this looks complex, I know, but when you try it, it will be an easier one. And in the next session or day or two, so I will share you a list of items that we have covered, because we are like sharing our topics and we are delivering it to you. So I will just share a list of topics that we have covered so far and what are the topics that we are covering in the next few sessions. So please review.